Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. All right. Well, thank you very much. We'll get my slides going here, and then we'll launch off into this. All right. Okay. Fantastic. All right, everybody. Center for Combating Elder Financial Abuse. My name is John Schwartz. I'm the founder and president of this nonprofit. We have our website as well as my email address, so make sure you get this before we go further. Please reach out to me. Did everybody get a chance to get it? All right. All right, lesson 1, introduction on predators who conduct elder financial abuse. And for some of you individuals, this may be the very first training you've ever received in elder financial abuse. So the goals for today are really simple. All we're doing today is I'm going to show you what elder financial abuse really looks like in our country today. And I believe I'm going to shock you when I show you some of my information that I have here. So this is what we're going to do today. This is how we're going to do it. I'm going to show you 2 cases just to set the tone for the presentation. After that, I'm going to give you some background on myself and then our mission and goals. But number 4 is what I'm going to really teach you. I'm going to teach you how the predator works. I don't care if it's a financial predator, a sexual predator, or a homicidal predator. They all work the same, and they all have the same goal. Then we're going to go through some examples of convicted financial predators. And I'll tell you right now, one of my convicted predators I'm going to show you is from good old Rockville, Maryland himself. It's incredible, and I'm going to see if you guys have heard of this case. Then a couple of steps on how to protect the vulnerable, and then finally review our center's website. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and get started. So in this training, you're going to see videos from both victims and convicted predators. Hey, I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm going to let the predators and the victims teach you, because that's where you're going to learn. And in this training, we go beyond red flags. Listen, anyone can look up the red flags. That's the DOJ red flags, and they're good red flags. They're helpful. They definitely are. I'm not saying they're not, but we're going to go beyond that. So I've been researching this crime a long time. And I came across this study from 1999, a few years back. I came across it probably a decade ago. But the next slide I'm going to show you is going to say it all about elder financial abuse. And I'm glad that I'm following Jacqueline, because she was a great lead-in to this. In this study, the first thing that on the first page it says, some rob you with a gun, some with a fountain pen. That's exactly how it works, right? I mean, that's how it works. I mean, the weapon of choice here is not a gun, it's not a knife, it's the pen. And once that signature's laid on that document, that thing is done and that predator has control. All right, so let's take a look at the first 2 cases just to set the tone for today's presentation. First one's Roger Dale Williams, a church pastor. Who saw that coming today, right? Let's watch the video.
One of the forms of abuse among aging adults is financial exploitation. Tonight at 5, we continue our series of stories breaking the silence, elder abuse awareness.
Financial exploitation is costing older Americans more than $35 billion each and every year, according to the Adult Protective Services Association. Well, WATE 6 on Your Side reporter Don Dare examines why some people fall victim to this crime.
The financial exploitation of older adults is often called the crime of the 21st century. In a national study, nearly 20% of those 65 and older indicated some form of financial mistreatment or criminal fraud. Sometimes, however, criminals are caught. Nearly 100 people once trusted Roger Williams with their savings. He's now a federal prisoner for breaking their trust.
I can't say.
Jimmy Vineyard had invested with Williams. Filled with emotion, he could hardly speak when we talked in July 2014.
Beautiful woman.
He and his wife, Ellen, she died in 2011, thought they had invested wisely after putting their money in investments operated solely by Williams.
These
Showing us deposit slips, Mr. Vineyard had invested over $500,000 with Williams. But when he needed cash to pay for Ellen's care, Williams told him the money was gone.
got all my life savings. Yes.
You can see it in his face, the rage building against Williams. Because Roger Williams was a preacher, investors trusted him with nearly $2 million. At his church in Gatlinburg, we asked him about his investors' savings.
Their money's gone, yeah.
Some 90 investors? How about the other investors?
Yeah, their money, yeah, that was all of our investment over the past 7 years.
I think it's illegal what he done.
All the money was gone. Church pastor, right? Over 100 victims, right? There's the before and after picture. So what I said at the very beginning, I'm going to show you what elder financial abuse really looks like in the United States today. Well, that's it, and that's a predator. So here's the press release from Department of Justice on his case. I want to point a couple of things to you. First of all, look at the date of this. This is only 2018. Secondly, I want to show you the amount, $1.3 million. And then finally, he was a pastor at Pigeon Forge. That's a convicted predator. That's not a study. That's not a maybe kind of I don't know. That's a financial predator. And again, I'm just setting the tone here. The next one, I'm going to show another video too. We'll only play a part of it because the volume may be a little difficult for everybody, but let's take a look at this. This second case is April Parks. That's a fraudulent guardianship out of Nevada. And here's her before and after picture. Now this video is actually a very good video. What they're going to say at the very beginning of this is that it can happen in the blink of an eye. And that's the time element. And the time element is incredible in any predator case. Again, financial, sexual, or homicidal. But this is a convicted predator.
The story you're about to see will make you sad. It will make you feel scared and helpless, and it could happen to anyone. It is a family tragedy where an elderly couple is yanked from their home. Their daughter is left in the dark, and the person put in charge by Clark County admits to serious mistakes uncovered by Contact 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears.
It can happen in the blink of an eye.
I could not be less happy.
Life as you know it changed forever.
Did you feel like you and your wife were kidnapped out of your own home?
We were kidnapped and raped. Both.
Maybe not literally, but Rudy and Rennie North feel like they were violated, stripped of the life they were living together for 60 years. He cared for her through cancer and claims they were doing just fine until a knock on their door in the fall of 2013.
So I opened the door and they said that they were officers of the court.
Rudy says the officers gave the couple 3 options.
1, we call the police. 2, we have you go to a psychiatric ward.
Choice 3, an assisted living facility. The people who came for Rudy and Rennie were private professional guardian April Parks and a member of her staff.
Mr. and Mrs. North were not in a good situation when we initially got the guardianship. There were lots of concerns about what was going on with them health-wise.
Parks says a hospice company referred the couple to her out of concern that they could no longer care for themselves.
Were they allowed to given the choice to stay in their home?
At that time, they were not.
And they've never been allowed to go back home. Parks says threats of police and jail never came up, but
psychiatric ward probably came up.
Frightened and worried about being separated, the couple went with Parks to Lakeview Terrace Senior Home. Their only daughter, Julie, had no idea they'd been taken.
Who believes they're going to get taken out of their home?
Julie eventually tracked them down. She took this video in January 2014.
I felt like I was being arrested. I was kidnapped out of my house. I wasn't even fully dressed.
Court records show Rudy and Rennie were deemed incompetent by a pain management specialist and a physician's assistant. April Parks used those evaluations to gain temporary guardianship, which the court has since made permanent.
In the court record, Parks also calls their only daughter, Julie, a reported drug addict who has no contact with her parents. Both say that's a lie, and there's no evidence to back it up.
They defame your family.
They do that in case after case after case.
In the North's case, we discovered mistakes, overbilling, and double dipping.
Should it take Contact 13 to be the one that's finding this stuff and asking these questions?
No, ma'am, I shouldn't.
All right, so I see a couple of heads already shaking, right?
You know what? I just dealt with a case like that. That's ghost guardianship right there. Ghost guardianship.
Oh, I've never heard that term. That's a great term, but that's exactly what it is.
Can you repeat it? So the phenomenon that's happening where folks, misreport, fraudulently report, so that the guardian can look more favorable in the eyes of the court, whatever. It's called ghost guardianship.
And it's powerful, isn't it? Well, hey, I just said I want to. Yes, ma'am.
And a great movie to watch about this program right here would be, that movie is called I Care a Lot. And it's a guardianship program where this young lady actually moves in and takes people's properties, elderly properties, and then she becomes a ghost. The family member can't do anything. It's a really good movie, so I would suggest everyone in here to watch it if you're going to try to help out seniors.
Well, thank you very much. That's exactly right. That movie, it's on Netflix. It's based loosely on this story, but this is an incredible story. All right, so I just wanted to set the tone really quick on the presentation. So let me give you a little quick background information on myself. Retired FBI agent with 24 years experience. I retired in January of 2021. And less than 2 weeks later, I had this nonprofit set up because we're going after these predators. Prior to that, I served in the Army for 9 years, so I have over 3 decades of service to our country. Graduated West Point a long time ago. I've been studying our nation's effort to combat elder financial abuse since 2012. And again, that first report that I showed you is one of the first ones that I came up with. It's amazing. And then finally, we're a veteran-operated 501c3 nonprofit. People ask me, well, why did you set this up as a nonprofit rather than LLC? I said, because I wanted to have maximum impact. I want to be a national entity, and a nonprofit can do that. So that's what we're doing. And finally, I'm based out of Haymarket, Virginia, just near Manassas. So, right, I'm just down the road. So we're going to have lunch. All right. All right, a little bit more information about us. Mission of the center: we will lead the way in protecting the elderly and their families from these predators who commit elder financial abuse. Very simple mission statement, but that's what we'll do. Goals for the center: I want to show the scale and scope of the threat posed by these financial predators, and you better fasten your chin straps because I'm about to show you that here in a couple of minutes. Has anyone seen this report? This only came out in June 15th of this year from AARP. By the way, June 15th is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and that's why it came out. You see the figure on the bottom there. $28.3 billion a year is what AARP estimates this problem to be. Now, it may be a lot higher. I don't know. But this is what our center is trying to accomplish. If our center can only eliminate 0.1%, meaning we can't even touch 99.9% of the problem, if we can only stop 0.1%, we have a value of $28 million, and that's exciting to us, and that's what we're trying to do. All right, so how do we accomplish our mission? Again, we go beyond the red flags. We take a look at these predators. We understand the crime through the eyes of the predator. If I can teach you the predator playbook, then you can detect these predators much more quickly. You got to detect them. Also, we study their fundamental principles, and we study the most successful and least successful. All right, this is the most important slide that I'm going to show you today. The goal of any predator, I don't care if it's a sexual, homicidal, or financial, is to gain control. If that predator can gain a control level and we measure it on a scale of 1 to 10, if they gain a control level of 8, 9, or 10, they have your entire life savings. And it's just that quick. So how does a predator gain control? simply by avoiding detection, which results in a predator that avoids detection is in control of his prey. So let me take you back just a couple of weeks to September 30th. Does everybody remember the 9-year-old girl in New York that was taken out of a park? Right, that's a predator case, right? And that predator was hiding in that park all day and in daylight, right? And that predator was able to gain control of that young 9-year-old girl. And that predator had her. And on a control level of 1 through 10, he had a 9 or a 10. And the only way he was detected is when he dropped off a ransom note. If he hadn't have done that, that little girl was gone. But this is what I say. A predator that can avoid detection is in control of this prey. That's as simple as it gets. And I'm going to show you some examples. Our first case is a mortgage fraud. And I'm glad to be able to show this crowd this document. So this is from the Secret Service. And this is from just May of this year. The United States Secret Service seizes more than $290,000 in an elder fraud scam. So basically what happened is that the predator met this couple online and then talked them into doing a reverse cash out on their mortgage. So in this document is the following paragraph, and I'll read it for you. The alleged perpetrator was able to induce the couple to obtain a cash-out refinance mortgage for their residence transferred to the funds of the title company and attempted to have the funds sent to the alleged perpetrator's bank account. However, one of the victims went to the local, and I can't see that name, but title company for the transaction, and the CEO of the title company became suspicious and contacted law enforcement. The Secret Service subsequently seized the entirety of the funds, approximately $290,000, before the alleged perpetrator was able to access the account. And then at the very end it says, no criminal charge has been filed in this case. So what does this tell you? This tells you that this predator was online, remained undetected, and then just like Jacqueline said, the last line of defense picked up on this and did something. And they picked up the phone to Secret Service. And they saved this elderly couple almost $300,000. That's elder financial abuse, and that's my message to everybody here. You may be the last line of defense for an elderly couple losing everything. And again, the time element. I said that it can happen in a blink of an eye. If this CEO was just having a bad day or just didn't care and said, hey, it's not my job, and that transaction probably would have gone through, and that $290,000 would have been gone in a blink of an eye. And then finally in the document it says, I commend the members of Wenatchee community who took it upon themselves to look out for the elderly and vulnerable and affirmatively reach out to law enforcement to protect them from fraud. That's exactly right. And that's exactly what you'll be in the position to do possibly one day. All right, let's take a look at Ponzi schemes really quick. In my mind, this is the most effective attack vector. The first one we're going to look at is Doc Gallagher, Christian talk show host. Well, here he is. And this is Washington Post, right? Whoever saw this one? No. And the date of it, November 2nd, 2021. Looks like an elderly gentleman, right? He was age 80 when he was arrested in 2021. This is an elder-on-elder financial attack. And here's his press release. So let me point a couple of things out to you. First of all, you see the date, November of 2021, right? This is less than 2 years ago. And then you see 3 life terms for a Ponzi scheme. I want you to remember that. This individual got 3 life terms. And then as you walk down through it, if you go down to the 5th paragraph, he amassed $32 million in losses to his clients and exploited many elderly individuals. He worked his way around churches, preying on people who believed he was Christian. I told you I was going to rock you, right? This is no joke. And then finally, 80 years old. So this predator hid in plain sight. How was this predator not detected prior to $32 million? And he stole it from 190 victims. Again, he hid in plain sight on Christian radio in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So this is what I'm starting to see, is that it happens in large metropolitan areas. Do we live in a large metropolitan area? Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this video here is probably my best video, because this is the promotional video of Doc Gallagher. This is how the predator does it. What I'm about to show you is the predator playbook. He's going to say that he graduated from Brown University with a PhD. My research has found that that's accurate, that I haven't found anything to dispute that. You'll also see that this video was very well done. This is a predator who knew his job. And then finally, we'll get to the point where he speaks about religion. So let's take a look at Doc Gallagher.
Dr. Neil Gallagher is a premier true American with integrity in all his pursuits. His key goal is to help others take responsibility for their financial future. His life's passion is to help people retire safe, early, and happy. Steeped in history, Dr. Neil Gallagher earned his PhD from Brown University. He received his financial license and began working as a broker with firms in New York and St. Louis. Shortly after this period, Dr. Gallagher determined that the financial world of selling stocks and bonds, mutual funds, CDs, and more was not effectively educating the public. As he puts it, I dumped big broker and developed my own company dedicated to educating, empowering, and encouraging people whom are now his clients.
I strongly believe that as a society, we some time ago crossed a threshold in which a great number of individuals today give up on themselves too easily. We've raised a generation who not only looks to others to rescue them in virtually every matter concerning their lives, but one that also demands that others, whether parents, friends, employees, or the government, immediately solve their problems to their liking. Freedom requires education and empowerment, and I educate and empower clients. Less government, more personal responsibility, and with the help of God, a better world.
Dr. Gallagher developed his skills and acumen as a writer, publisher,
How is he?
speaker,
Pretty good, right?
Grammy, Oscar-winning performance.
It is. It really is. But that shows you just how excellent these predators are, which takes it all the way back to this group today. All of you are professionals. All of you are very good. You're the last line of defense against predators like this. And this is one of the best that you've seen. Let me go back to a time element. It can happen in a blink of an eye. This is from the Dallas Morning News. What it's like to turn on your TV and learn you've lost your entire life savings to an alleged swindler. That's a reality, and that's how quickly it happens. And that's why I set up this nonprofit, because millions can be lost in a blink of an eye. Well, I wish I could tell you that the news only gets better, but it doesn't. It gets worse. The next individual I'm going to show you is the Bernie Madoff of elder financial abuse. Here he is, Scott Cohen, age 68. And that's his before and after picture. All right, what did I say about Doc Gallagher? How long was he sentenced for? Does anybody remember? 3 life sentences. Remember that. $32 million, is that right? All right, good. Here we go. Here's this press release from DOJ. First of all, the date of it, August 18th, 2022. Who's heard of this case? Oh, fantastic, good. I'm glad you have. This is one of the largest financial cases in the United States. You see the second headline here, masterminded a $300 million Ponzi scheme targeting retirees and military pension holders. $300 million? Are you kidding me? And then the top headline. Yeah, I tell you I was going to, this is it. This is what elder financial abuse looks like in the United States today. How is that? So let me ask a couple questions on him. $300 million. How much financial devastation is that to how many elderly? $300 million. That's horrible, right? My second question is this. How wasn't he detected at $100 million or $200 million and finally $300 million? So detection's everything, right? I started off this presentation talking about detection. Detection's everything. We can't wait till $300 million before we stop them. And then finally, with this $300 million. What in the world do you need $300 million for? He wasn't good with $10 million, $50 million, right? He hit the $100 million mark and said, I got to keep going. But I share that with you because that's the mindset of these predators. To explain this as simple greed doesn't do it justice. But you got to understand, they do it for the thrill of it. The more they steal, the more of a thrill it is. And that's Predator 101. And you got to understand that. Why did that individual kidnap that little girl in that park 3 weeks ago? For the thrill of it. It's Predator 101. And we got to start looking at it. This isn't a family matter. This isn't a civil matter. This isn't a bad investment. This is Predator 101. And finally, I explained to everybody I'm a veteran, right? If we go down to the very last sentence here, he placed more than 13,000 veterans in exploitative loans. Yeah, that nonsense will stop. I'm able to tell you that I'm able to work with the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. They're doing a great job. One of their attack vectors that they're looking at is pension poaching. Pension poaching is a huge elder financial abuse attack vector. And Pennsylvania is doing a good job on it. I've been able to work with them for 2 years, so I'm proud for that. But this is the Bernie Madoff. And again, the before and after picture. So there's no chance. Yeah, please, Jacqueline.
So $300 million gone. So how much of it do they get to recover it? Do they get to recover any of it? No.
I'll tell you, for the Doc Gallagher case, I heard that they were able to recover 10%. So just use 10%. Yeah. So where does all this money go, right? I mean, it's nonsense. It's incredible. All right, so see, Felicia read my notes when she said boats, because we're going to look at that next.
And it's in a lot of cases you look at that and you know it's because they're living lifestyles that for us it's like, you know, they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to fly to Paris right now and just go to lunch.
That's it. It's nonsense, right?
Wanting to be important and to be seen.
That's it.
Yes, exactly.
That's it. So, right, I mean, this is helpful, right? Now we're understanding the mind of the predator. So don't ask, well, how in the world could somebody do this? You've just answered the question, right? All right, so I just showed you one guy that stole $300 million. What are the chances the next guy I'm going to show you also still stole $300 million? Impossible, right? There's no way I'm going to show you another case, a $300 million case, right? Yeah, let's take a look. Rusty Rom. Take a look at this press release. Again, I point you to the date of this, right? This is less than a year old. And then all you have to do is read the first paragraph. Kansas City man pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail fraud in connection to a $300 million nationwide telemarketing fraud scheme. And then very next line here, according to court documents from 2000 to February 2020. Again, this guy went undetected for 20 years. We didn't detect him at the $100 million mark. So that's what I'm saying about elder financial abuse, and that's why I'm so glad that McCall invited me here today, because I want to get the word out of exactly what this crime looks like. Because it's not covered on social media, it's not covered on 24/7 news. But this is a problem for our nation's 56 million elders. All right, Felicia, here's your boat. Powerboat racer. Impossible, right? This is these predators. $300 million. So let's step back and take a look at this. I just showed you two predators that successfully stole $300 billion. I showed you that they're only months apart. Cohen was sentenced in August of last year, and Rahm pleaded guilty just a couple of months later. No one's ever heard of these cases except for one individual. Yep. All right, here's my surprise. Here's our last case. Maryland-based attorney and certified public accountant. Who's heard of this case? Let's take a look.
Helen Nutt worked hard and saved her money. The widow, who had worked as a church secretary, built a substantial nest egg.
Well, she died at 91, but she invested well and she saved. She made her money the old-fashioned way. She worked and saved it.
But prosecutors say she was swindled out of her hard-earned money by this man, Jonathan Robbins, an attorney and CPA. They say she asked him for help in setting up trust and estate documents.
But he ultimately put himself in control of everything with no oversight, no second eyes, no third eyes, nobody else. There was no check, no balance.
Prosecutors say a Montgomery County jury found Robbins guilty on several financial crimes charges. They say he took $1.8 million over the course of several years. An oversight agency and financial institutions noticed something was wrong and blew the whistle.
Wrote checks to himself, endorsed the checks himself, and then deposited them in his own account. Sometimes it was in smaller amounts, 20, 30,000. I think the largest check is somewhere around $300,000.
Prosecutors say Nutt died at the age of 91 before the trial happened. They presented some 300 exhibits, including photos showing the modest home Robbins lived in before he met Nutt, then the 6,600 square foot home he moved into.
He was surviving, living in a townhouse. Well, when this trial took place, and you're going to see pictures of it, he moved into a mansion on Miss Nutt's dime. And he was living a high life.
Prosecutors described Nutt as the perfect...
You already hit it, right?
Trusting.
So thank you very much for that input, but that's exactly right. This is incredible. Jonathan Robbins, right here in Rockville. Professional, right? CPA and an attorney hiding in plain sight. What about target selection? 88-year-old widow with $1.8 million? Predator 101, right? Successful predators know target analysis. Take that all the way back to that young girl in the park 3 weeks ago, right? Good target analysis. He was able to gain control of her. It's Predator 101. Here's his website, again hiding in plain sight. And here he is afterwards. Predator that avoids detection is in control of his prey. Also note, he got 12 years. That's 2 more than Scott Cohen. Incredible. All right, so what do we do now? Let me run through this list really quick. The first thing I'll say, conduct a vulnerability assessment, right? I mean, so right now we're the predators, right? You take a look at a couple that's age 65 years old, has a couple of $1 million, but they still active, playing golf a couple of times a week. Their kids are close by and they go to church, right? Is that a very good target? Can you isolate and control them? No. But take that same couple 10 years later, now one of the spouses has passed away, the other spouse is living isolated, the kids have moved away, and is that an easier target to isolate and control? Yeah, that's it. So, right, conduct your own assessment of elderly and trusted, responsible family members need to sit down together and do this assessment on an annual basis, if not more. So that set up your own program so that at least you're working to protect yourself, right? Everyone here is taking a class right now on elder financial abuse, right? So you're educating yourself. I think this is going to be the key. So what else can we do? I say slow down new relationships. I had a chance to give this presentation to AARP Virginia. I said, yeah, had slow down relationships. That's exactly what you described when you would come into a situation and things start getting crazy. I need you to go sit in timeout. I need one, slow it down. Because what the predators want to do, if they can speed up a romance scam or a sweepstakes scam, then they can create confusion, and that's where they operate in. So slow down relationships.
I just had that exact same thing just recently happened with my godmother, and it was a person that she had known for years. And she was a widow, he began, encouraging her, and they had a good time, and then he hit her with the, oh, sign this paper.
All right, sign the paper, right? Just like at the very beginning of this.
And she was like, for what? My goddaughter's here, my daughter's here, my son's not far. And he got very upset when she refused. And the romance ended as quickly as it started because his whole intention, because he had, like I said, they'd known each other for years. So he knew what she had.
Yeah.
And he baited his time. But she was still sharp enough to go, nah, I'm not signing no paper for you.
That's awesome. That's a great example. But yeah, it's as simple as that, right? So how much control would that one signature have given this individual?
Everything. Both houses, cars, everything. Wow.
You're kidding me. Yeah, that's how it works. One signature is all it takes. Thank you very much. That's a great example. So yeah, I say slow down relationships. Thank you again for that. That was amazing. Third thing I say is, second thing, romance schemes. Hey, maybe you do meet somebody online. That's not uncommon, but ask them to do a video with you and have one of your trusted and responsible family members with you. And if they're willing to do that, okay, maybe things are on the up and up. But if this is a predator, they won't want to get on that video. I also share, get an additional telephone number. In today's world, our numbers are out there. So get an additional telephone number and give that to respected and responsible and trusted individuals. Fourth one, don't click on links. We've all heard that time and time again. Number 5 is important. These tech support scams. Somebody will come on your computer and say, we're Microsoft, we detected various attacks on your computer. We need to verify, and they create a sense of urgency, speed it up. We need to act now. Listen, there's not a time, with no time. So pull out your driver's license, hold it up to your camera just so I can verify. And as soon as you do that, the attack is done. So I share that because this is happening more times than what you would expect. And then I say consider freezing your credit, and then have a trusted and responsible family member visit you more often. Even one more visit per year can make all the difference between a predator. And what do you do if you spot elder financial abuse? Contact local law enforcement. Who's heard of the FBI Internet Crime Complaint Center, ic3.gov? Okay, good. Now, if you contact them online, you can give them information, but it doesn't mean that you're going to speak to an agent. But you can go to field offices. Anyone can go to any field office at any time to report this crime. I also show that Secret Service case because Secret Service also looks at elder financial abuse. So if you're having trouble contacting law enforcement, remember Secret Service too. But what I encourage everyone to do, go to your local, state, and federal, because sometimes this crime is tough to report. All right, let me show you my website really quick. So if you go to endefa.org, this is the front page. Now you see Gallagher and Scott Cohen here, right? If you click on that, that's not just on the front page. If you click on that, you'll see the press releases that I have already shown you. So this is meant to be an educational piece, and it's free to our nation's 56 million elders. So anybody can go to my website at any time, spend as much time as they want educating themselves. And that video that I showed you on Doc Gallagher is on this tab here. If you go down to Doc Gallagher, click on that and go all the way to the bottom, you can watch that video. That's probably the best educational tool that I have on that website. Also what I just recently was able to connect with Wayne State University Center for Gerontology, or Institute of Gerontology. And I have their survey, a link to their survey on my website. Now that survey's for the user's purpose. They don't take data on you. What this survey allows you to do is conduct your own vulnerability assessment. And it's a very simple 17 question survey. So take that survey. See if you or a loved one, how vulnerable you may or may not be. Put this into your program, into your annual program. But I'm very proud that Wayne State University allows us to share that. So that's it, everybody. Thank you very much. And I'm open for any questions you may have.